Car guys, these states for you to be a car guy in are some of the worst. And believe it or not, some of you subscribers are from these states, and I recommend moving out or helping changing the laws because these states are just notorious for either giving car guys tickets or just making up laws that just doesn't help and makes it hard to modify cars. Let's get into the video. Let's go with number 5. The number 5 worst state for car guys to be car guys in is Georgia. And why is it Georgia, guys? Not for the laws or the modifications, because Georgia's pretty free. Other than a few facts, Georgia, depending on which county you're on, has emission testing law. So every time you register your car, you have to do emission testing in order for it to pass emissions. That way you can get your registration. But at certain counties, that's not everywhere. If you stay away from the metro city area in the country, yours should be pretty good. But the number one main reason is why it's at number 5 is because of the cops. I have family that lives in Georgia, and every time I go to Georgia, I can count probably 10 cops in a 5-mile stretch. They're absolutely everywhere. And yes, they do get tickets. My brother, who drives a Camaro, has gotten pulled over twice by Georgia cops in the same month. Why? Because just there's so many cops out there, and they do not care about car guys. They do not care about cars. They will pull you over so they can reach their quota and get, I guess, a bonus for giving you a speeding ticket or a warning or whatever they are. But just Georgia's crawling over with cops. It doesn't matter which part of Georgia, they're everywhere. So if you guys have to drive through Georgia, slow down, pay attention, have a radar detector, because Georgia is absolutely just horrible with cops. At number 4, guys, we have New York. You might be wondering why New York. They have beautiful upstate and they have New York City. That's the whole point. New York is Democrat, okay? And the speed limit is low there on purpose so they can catch speeders. They put it at 65 on purpose. Their roads are quite safe. They can go a lot faster than 65. They did it on purpose. And there's those state troopers, if you go fast, they'll give you a ticket. They can give you reckless driving. They can put you to jail. All because they hate car guys. And also, they have front-mounted license plate laws. I heard from both sides. I heard that they care, and they will give you a ticket for it. And some people I heard they drive without the front license plate, and they don't care. Honestly, if you live in a state which has a front license plate law, when you go to a car show, just buy the special bracket that you can just deploy and it'll hide the license plate. It's like a special bracket some companies sell. Or you can get a side-mounted plates, which looks cool, because I think the front mount license plates kind of destroy the look of the front end of the car. That's why I do not like those laws. I'm glad I live in a state which does not require that on the front. And also New York City, they hate car guys. Anytime you rev your engine, anytime you come on a supercar, a nice looking car, they will always try to find somehow to give you a ticket. So if you ever go to New York City, buy a rental car or get a rental car, and don't drive a nice looking car, because New York City absolutely hates anybody that's rich. That's just how the way they are and how they probably will be for a pretty long time. That state also has emission laws, a whole bunch of them. So whatever you do, guys, move out of state of New York, and that's why state of New York is number 4. Number 3, guys, we're moving up, and it's getting hotter, and how bad it gets is Arkansas. The state of Arkansas is notorious for catching speeders. You go 10 over in Arkansas, you are done. Now, it's not as bad as Virginia, but you are done in Arkansas. The only way you can escape is there's been some videos of police cars chasing them all the way to Memphis, and once they get hit, and when they cross the border, there's nothing the state patrol of Arkansas can do. But if you ever drive through the state of Arkansas, whatever you do, follow the speed limits. Maybe go 5 over. don't go 10 over because you will get busted. And Arkansas State Patrol don't play. They're actually going to chase you down until you crash or they crash, unless you cross the state line, because these guys are notorious for chasing down a lot of speeders. So be careful, especially when you're on the I-40 in Arkansas. And these guys just absolutely hate fast-looking cars. At number 2, we have California. Now, many of you are wondering, like, why California is at number 2, not number 1. Here's why. Because number 1 is a notorious state for a lot of things, and I'm gonna get to it soon. But number 2 is California. Here's how bad it is. They got exhaust laws. They got bad cops. They got modification laws. They got carb laws. So unless you know how to buy somebody out, unless you know how to pay somebody to register your car, you can't modify your car. Like Nate Ryder of YouTube, he somehow modifies his cars with like 1,000 horsepower, and somehow he registers it, probably by buying somebody off at the DMV to register, because you got to go through emission testing, you got to be carb compliant. Certain old diesel trucks or old cars cannot even run in the state of the car legally unless they're over 25 years old and can be registered as an antique vehicle. And also the exhaust law is the most dumbest thing in California. Almost every state in the United States except California goes by a certain decibel limit. In California, it's up to the discretion of the police officer for your exhaust sound. So even if your car's stock, if it's too loud for the officer, it's too loud for the state of California, you'll get it impounded or get a ticket. And here's the weird part. A Hyundai, I think it was a Elantra N, got pulled over for a loud exhaust of the popping noise. And the guy's like, well, it's in race mode. And the cop was like, well, it's in race mode. You're not supposed to use it on the road. You're supposed to use it on the track or the racetrack, which is absolutely dumb. So a stock car got pulled over for a loud exhaust. No modifications, just bone stock, and got pulled over because the police officer thought it was too loud. And here's the also problem. Most of the police officers that write those tickets are on bikes, unlike motorcycles. And another thing I don't get is, why are all of the popular car YouTubers in California? Like, they always complain about, oh, my exhaust is so loud. Oh, I can't modify this. I'm having a hard time registering. Dude, just move out of California. You can move to Arizona, and I guarantee you'll have less problems, like 50% less problems than you're having in California. And guess what? The price of fuel is ridiculously high for anybody in California, and especially if you're a car guy running on a 293 octane vehicle, your gas prices are through the roof. So it is just extremely expensive and extremely hard to be a car guy in California. If you're in California, just move. I guarantee you, just moving to Arizona, half of your problems will go away. And the number 1 state where it's the worst to be a car guy in is Virginia. And why is Virginia over California? Because of the police officers. Anywhere you go in Virginia, do not speed. You go 5 over, they give you a ticket. You go 3 over, they give you a ticket. You go 1 over, they can give you a ticket. Those police officers don't play. If you go 80 and a 70, that's called reckless driving, and they can suspend your license. I think, like, one statistic said that 4 out of every 10 people in Virginia have a suspended license because of how bad it is. And guess what, car guys? You cannot even own a radar detectors in Virginia. It's illegal because they know a lot of car guys, a lot of people use radar detectors how to get speeding tickets. So guess what? They're gonna make a law. Let's not have any radar detectors so we could get more speeding tickets. I think radar detectors is a safety thing. It helps. You're not paying attention to the road. Oh, all of a sudden a radar detector goes on. You look, oh, I'm speeding. Oh, there's a cop probably, and you slow down. There you go. And in Virginia, it's the opposite. They want you to speed and get caught. And they're really bad about it. A lot of YouTubers drove through Virginia and just basically, they never were speeding, but there was a group in front of them was speeding. And guess what? They got blamed for it. All the vehicles got impounded. They'll impound your vehicles. They'll give you a ticket. They can send you to jail. Virginia is just bad. And I mean, it is bad. The car community is almost non-existent there. The only car community that exists is like people of classic cars that go to car shows. The car enthusiast world for the modern day cars just are non-existent. I mean, the dude in blue was from Virginia and he hated it. And if you do get a radar detector, there's one way they can tell. You just can't hide it. There's one way they can tell. And the way they can tell is they have a radar detector. So basically, they pull you over because their radar detector found out you had a radar detector, and they will impound it. It doesn't matter what price your radar detector is, it's impound. It doesn't matter if you're registered in North Carolina, they will still impound it. So, car guys, if you live in Virginia, move out. If you have to drive through Virginia, don't drive it. Try to go around. If you do have to drive through Virginia, follow the speed limit and make sure you turn off your radar detector and hide it, because these cops absolutely do not play. I've heard a lot of stories where even 1 mile an hour over and they got a speeding ticket.
Not canceled.
Guys, I'm Eddie B.
2004 turn right. This particular package. Drive an attempt on the 6 Series.